Hi empaths, welcome back to more crystal readings. So notice which stone here draws you in visually. Which one do you already feel connected to? And allow the energy of your heart to flow up, out, through your eyes, into the crystal. I'll tune into that crystal and see what I can read off of it. So we're working with them as mediums. On the left we have Moonstone, in the middle we have Charoite, and on the right we have Ocean Jasper, otherwise known as Orbicular Jasper. So tuning in, sending your energy from the heart up out through the eyes. Tuning in. All right, let's get started. Okay, so if you chose the Moonstone, really pretty piece. I don't know if I can get it to focus, but all right, let's tune in. I keep hearing milky white way, and I have a blanket of white, innocence, purity. Focusing on the feminine yin essence, as you would expect from Moonstone, Moonstone's energy and influence. Seeing a full moon in the sky, so a moon cycle. So maybe there's something that you're creating here, working on, bringing it into fruition. And we just had a new moon in Leo. If you're watching this, what would that be? The 20th of August? I'm recording this a few days in advance, but so we just had a new moon in Leo. So you may have done something to plant seeds during that time, right? Or and so bringing something into fruition through the new moon into the full moon. You can use the moon's energy in that way. And then the full moon will be an opportunity to release anything that's no longer working and to readjust, right? See what has been made manifest or actualized through that process, and then tweak. And with that Leo energy, maybe getting some recognition for the endeavor, or exposure, or working with people that are known, well-known, celebrity, or renowned for their work, right? Maybe there's something you're working on here that's collaborative. Or an idea of how to align yourself to people that have already figured things out in a certain field, or who already have sort of eyes or the spotlight on them, aligning yourself with them, and bringing your gifts to the table so that it's sort of this win-win situation, while having that opportunity to be in front of the eyes of their audience as well. Something like that. And maybe that's a missing piece of what this maybe business plan or creative idea involves. Maybe there could be some work there, something to look into there. Aligning yourself here. I'm seeing the word fame. Although that might not be your goal. You might consider reaching out to collaborate or interview people who have a large following already, and maybe aligning yourself there, particularly if you're a teacher or an author or some kind of creator that is on a similar trajectory, right? That might not be a bad idea. I'm also seeing someone dressed in white, and that might be symbolic of purifying, right? Of reflecting out any sort of unwanted energies, a purification process. Maybe you've begun some kind of detox or purifying emotionally, right? Moonstone is an emotional stone, right? Linked to the sacral chakra. Maybe there is this emotionally cycling out, purifying something that's been long held or suppressed. Maybe it's coming up to release. And allowing for the process, because that's also something that's associated with the Moonstone, is something that's process oriented, something that's cyclical, like the moon cycle or our emotional cycle, right? And maybe you're being pressured to make a decision right now, and the way your decision making process happens, because maybe you're very intuitive or very emotional, is that you need time and space to really feel it out. And honor that for yourself as best you can. Right? And guard against comparing yourself to people that are just going out and putting things out there, right? And thinking you're falling behind. Perhaps you're more of a developer, right? Perhaps you're just more precise and it's one thing to have like this what they call analysis paralysis, where you're perfecting and you never quite get things out because you get stuck in a certain part of the process. But it's another thing to put out things that aren't really that great of quality, and then taking a blow to your reputation. So there's a balancing here that's happening as you're creating this idea. If you feel stuck on some part of the process, just make a working decision, something you can work with as you go, right? Something that I'm going to settle for this for now, and I'm going to allow it to evolve as I continue on the journey with it, right? Just start, keep moving forward. Something is being created here, something's being developed. And it's not a great time to ask for feedback around it, or just acknowledge if it's new, right? Acknowledge that if it's in a very early phase, which I'm getting it might be that we're just planting the seeds now, it's a new budding idea. We don't want to hand it over to critics yet, or those people who are wet blankets. It's not time to get feedback from those people, right? If you need support, go to those people that are champions, cheerleaders, who are doing a lot themselves, who are creating a lot themselves. So they can give you honest feedback, but they're not naysayers, so to speak. You have to honor that. You have to honor the delicate timing. But also be decisive and keep moving forward. That this is worthwhile, whatever this creative endeavor or project is. And maybe that's also your purifying your intent around it, making decisions, weeding out things that don't align, things that don't work. And always keeping in mind the purest of intent around why you're doing what you're doing, to keep the enthusiasm, the joy around it, the passion. Because sometimes as we go, we get jaded along the way and we lose sight of that, and it's not fun anymore. So take note of that and maybe write it down, or write your original intent around why you want to create this, or make note of this original intent that you're putting out there in a journal, or posting it somewhere with a Post-it or something, so that you can see it and always come back to that original intent, or so you can come back and see and refocus, right, when you start to lose sight of it. And know that it may evolve. But this idea may have come to you as maybe like an epiphany, or a download, or, right, I'm seeing light, like a light, being of light, or creative force coming in and enlightening you with this idea. So don't lose sight of that original sort of breakthrough, or just the purity of that intent that you started with. The motivating force or factor that put it into motion, right? So it can keep it in motion if you ever feel like you're losing sight of why you're continuing on this path, right? Or when things get hard, maybe you hit an obstacle along the path, and that's not uncommon. To know that it's not a sign that you need to stop, or that you're doing something wrong, or that you're not doing the right thing. You can always come back to that momentum building intent. And not get convoluted with other people's agendas and things like that. Particularly if you're a sensitive or an empath, right? That can happen. So purity of intent, youthful joy, and giving yourself a cycle or process, and purifying, and emotional release are coming up. So let me know if this resonates for you. Sending you much success and momentum around this project or idea, a vision. And let me know if this resonated in the comments. And thanks for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. You might want to watch the other crystals to see if there's anything there for you, if your energy spilled over. Or I'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye, empath. Hi there to those of you that chose the Charoite. I love this piece. It's really special. All right, let's tune in. It's really vibrating intensely in my hand. It is a spiritual stone. That information's coming in first. I'm just going to express that so it can move away. I'm sort of seeing the word light, and then this roller coaster of light taking a journey of ups and downs, spirals. I'm seeing the rockin' coaster in Disney, I think it's Disney World, where they have Aerosmith music playing in the background. I don't know why I'm seeing that. Oh, and I'm kind of back in that seat, that car, in the roller coaster when I was on that ride, and how it was really jarring, and shaking my head back and forth. So maybe you've been on quite a ride recently. A lot of ups and downs. That was a lot to get to that place. Sorry about that. And maybe there is a lot of living in the head, right? A lot of looking at mental patterns or getting stuck in tunnel vision in that, locked into fear or anticipation, maybe even obsessive compulsive tendencies, right? Maybe that's been really activated recently. Charoite wants to come in and bring this energy down, right? Allowing all of this energy that starts to accumulate here, and to bring it down so that we're aligned here. Bringing spiritual knowledge, helping to embody it. Expanding the threshold of the body to be able to contain the higher frequencies. So maybe this is a learning curve that you're going through right now, and it feels intense. And if, the body hasn't been moving, right? If the body, see how we use dissociating language. If your body, right, taking ownership of the body, taking ownership of your body, and bring in movement somehow to discharge some of these high frequencies. If they have a spiral, finding the spiral and bringing it out, making it go the opposite way and bringing it back, right? And then noticing how it changes and shifts. I'm hearing It's a Hard Knock Life from Annie, the musical. So this might have been a time of ups and downs, and feeling like, wow, I've been really beaten up lately by life, by experiences, and I'm seeing that ride coming to a slow halt. Slow halt, and then one last, right? Like when you're coming to a stop on a roller coaster or a ride. So maybe recently you've had one last really big hiccup in a process, or one last roadblock. Or you've hit the 11th hour, right, in the manifestation process, and you're losing hope. And you're being encouraged to keep the faith in your process, keep going. that this is the part of the journey where hands come to help you out, right? Of your individual cars, the individual car seat. Hands are coming in to help. And if you can't see them because you still have the what is that? The sort of like the, I can't think of the name of it, but you know what I mean if you're in a roller coaster. The thing that, the safety harness, whatever it is, that can be like having tunnel vision. So if you can't quite see who's coming in to help, it might be time to release that and expand the vision, right? So working with peripheral vision, expanding the view, right? Particularly if we get into tunnel vision and get really constricted, it affects us emotionally, and there is a constricting energy. If we can expand that by focusing on our peripheral vision, expanding that, if you want to do that now and just see the effect that has, as well as acknowledging the back of the third eye, right? That it also is in the back of the head, and noticing that expanded awareness. Taking a deep breath, you might notice you want to take a deep breath. Sometimes we get really constricted, really tunnel visioned. And, you know, we feel like we've been forced into that because we've been knocked around a bit. And, it's safe now to expand the view and to take the hands, the helping hands that are coming in as support. It's safe to be in your body. Maybe this has been a challenge, right? It has felt that, you know, maybe you have a tendency to float up and out. If you're an empath, that's certainly a tendency, right? And the focus now is to maintain that connection, but allow it to come down and be embodied, and to take more ownership of your body, right? I tend to say the body, and I do tend to dissociate from my body. So taking more ownership, and maybe not just linguistically, but also moving the body, doing things to ground down, to be more aware of your feet, things to balance, right? To bring some balance here. Maybe you do tend, if you're drawn to Charoite, Charoite is a very spiritual stone. Maybe you do feel more comfortable in the spiritual realms. And it's important to balance that down. I just saw a video by Teal Swan, actually. I haven't watched it yet, but she's talking about this, about not taking ownership of the 3D aspects of life, and that's important too. And right, we're here to ground and to experience 3D reality. And maybe part of the purpose is to bring some of the spiritual energy down and anchor it down into the earth. And we can't do that if we're floating up and out, even though we are more comfortable up here, perhaps, right? Can we embody it into our body? Can I get into my body? Can you get into your body? And take a little more ownership there. Even though we acknowledge that we don't own the body, that we're renting it, right? We don't own our bodies. We're having an experience here. And because it is limited and impermanent, we got to take stellar care. Part of that is by what we focus on and the energy we're aligning to and resonating with, but it is important to take really optimal care physically too. So I see that there's some balancing there. Oh, and getting comfortable with receiving support that's not just in spirit form. And maybe that's why I saw that the helping hands coming in. Maybe you're noticing people reaching out. And if you have this fear of engulfment, right, from being smothered in childhood or being treated cruelly, right, there's this tendency to react, right, be reactive when someone gives us attention or communicates in some way. The energy gets alert and protective. Well, are you able to slow the process or slow the reaction time and maybe just bring in some awareness there and breathe a little bit into it and still be discerning, but notice who's coming in to provide genuine help, support, love, ask if you need anything, right? And maybe the energy system is entrained into protection because of past traumas and situations. And can we heal that out by accepting help, accepting the love and support of trusted people, right? Even if it's out of our comfort zone, slowly acclimating, not losing that discernment, right? Not losing that wisdom that was gained from those experiences of discerning by being able to attune to agenda, attune to someone's intent. But when we know someone has a genuinely good heart and wants to support and help and connect, can we open and not feel that as a burden? I know that's been a learning curve for me, so I feel you if that's part of the path here. Right? Maybe there is this tendency to put up defenses. But there are people around you who do genuinely love and support, and are you able to discern them and open to receive from them, right? And maybe you've been forced in the past to just connect to a higher power because you were surrounded by untrustworthy humans. And, you know, we can create a different reality here than that, right? We can shift out of that. So as adults, we can make different choices there and let different people in and still have strong boundaries around anybody that has toxic behaviors or doesn't honor our boundaries, things like that. But there are people that do have genuine interest in helping and supporting and loving. So can we connect with them and not see that as a burden? That's the learning curve, right? So I'm seeing that is being supported right now. And do let me know if that sending you healing energy around that, right? I connect with that intent and amplify that for you and for me. So let me know if that resonates, right? We can amplify that for each other and support each other here. And thanks for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Links are in the description for anything you might want or need. And yeah, watch the other crystal readings and see if there's information in there for you. All right. I will see you in the next one. Bye, empath. Hi there to those of you that chose the ocean jasper, also known as orbicular jasper, because of the round formations there, patterning. All right, let's tune in. Let's see what our ocean jasper. It is a little sparkly top. I don't know if you can see that, if it'll focus. You can kind of see it. Anyway, I love this piece. It's so pretty. Okay, let's tune in. Seeing a very slow tide into the beach of the ocean. A balancing and a slowing of the emotional cycle and process. Maybe there was recently a big release and now it's more balanced. There's a slowing. There's a nurturing feeling, as is the energy of the ocean jasper, right? Jaspers are very nurturing stones. Very nurturing feeling here. And as the emotions are nurtured, it lends itself to this growing and budding of enthusiasm. The spark of enthusiasm starts growing because the emotions are cared for. So maybe you lead with emotions. And it's important that you feel safe emotionally before you can get really excited about things. And maybe this was a pattern that begun in childhood, right? It sounds like a pattern that would develop in childhood, right? I have to make sure it's safe before I can experience joy and celebrate and be excited. And I'm seeing that you really cultivated a really safe, nurturing space inside. That's been a focus. I'm seeing a metaphor here of in your body. It's like a really cozy home, and the inner child feels contained and safe and warm and held. And there's like soft cushions to rest and read and explore and daydream, and it's a really positive environment for the inner child. And maybe that's something you focused on developing and cultivating for yourself so that you would feel safe enough to enjoy life, to have experiences and adventures. And maybe there is an Atlantis or Atlantean influence here. Maybe you really resonate with that. Stories of Atlantis, the idea of Atlantis, that energy, like mermaids, and maybe you really love dolphins. The ocean really resonates with you. It's a very healing idea and space. So there's this idea of being a very deep person that can dive really deep, and sometimes feel like maybe even have this sense that you're drowning in emotions. There's so much water. But there's also this spark, this fiery, passionate, enthusiastic sun energy, like fiery, enthusiastic energy that really balances it. So when you start to feel that water covering you, can you get back in touch with? You can emote, right, and release, and then come back to that balanced, slower waves, slower ebbs and flows, right, getting back into the emotion of the ocean instead of the depth. You can also get in touch with, it's funny, on my screensaver, I'm seeing water, the ocean, and where there's the depth of the ocean, lights from the town shining on the waters, really emphasizing this point of getting in touch with the light, right? Getting in touch with that enthusiasm. Movement can help with that. So if you feel like you're in the depths, there are options. There are options to get out of that. You can stay there and feel it and allow yourself to release and know that it's impermanent, that you're wired for change, right? The human system is wired for change. The brain is wired for change. So know that if it'll be temporary if you just allow yourself to go there and feel it. You can also get in touch with the part of you that's excited, enthusiastic, fiery, passionate, by thinking of something that brings you passion or moving the body in some way, right? So the water's not stagnant, so that you're back in the ebb and the flow. Oh, interesting that, there's sparkle, right? There's sparkle in the crystal at the top. I don't know if we ever got a good, clear view of that, but you can see there's sparkle. Oh, there we go. You can see there's sparkle at the top here. So this piece is even indicative of that, right? We have the orbs that can look like currents, right? Or getting into the current of that deep water. But that does imply motion in the water too. But then the sparkle of the light, right? The enthusiasm, the joy. So there's a balancing there. Maybe that's something you've just come through and you're really learning about your nature here. That yes, this is true, but also this is true as well. And they can work together and balance each other out, right? When you're starting to feel really independent and disconnected and going your own way and I don't need anybody, well, those are times where you could use a healthy dose of the water, right? To feel connected again. And connection is currency. So if you can feel connected and other people feel connected to you, that's really valuable. So there are times where you might find that you feel very independent. You don't want to need anybody. You don't want, right, to be around other people. And that's where the water can come in to help you feel more connected, feel more empathy, right? And because the pendulum does swing sometimes, doesn't it? And then there are times where you're feeling like overwhelmed from everything, right? Empaths feel this, like you're drowning in other people's emotions and there's too much connection. And that's where we can get in touch with the fire part and get some movement going so we can flow a little bit more if we're really in those depths. And really asking yourself every day, what will bring me joy today? Can I radiate joy out into the world today? So I'm sort of seeing this energy of joy and this ripple through the energy system as it circulates with our mindfulness, right? We can use our minds and scan the field with any emotion or vibration or frequency we wish and help circulate that. So we can do that with joy if we can access that. And you can access that or activate that part of the brain by just bringing up a past experience where you felt so much joy, right? And just amplifying that. And then when we're there and we've got it, we can use our breath or just our inner vision and see that scanning. You can use your hand if it helps and just feel it, right? Circulating through the entire field, right? Maybe this is something that you're really skilled at. Maybe you've done a lot of work with intentional breathing, mindfulness, somatic experience or healing, energy work. So it's something you're very familiar with. Maybe you do resonate with the healers of Atlantis and things like that. I do keep seeing Atlantis, the word Atlantis. And dolphins swimming, intuitive connection and communication there, that connection. And hearing a dolphin laughing and that joy that flows and ripples out. Oh, and the sonar. So the frequency of the sound. So maybe you're noticing that some people's voices or certain sounds, different types of music have different effect on you. Maybe you've been onto this a while and you're mindfully tuning the station, not just your own frequency, but the radio station and the songs that you choose to play, the people you choose to listen to. You're really intentional around making sure it's a harmonious sound, that it feels good when you listen, that there are some people who you come away not feeling well. And that might be based on frequency and your sensitivity to frequency. And then there are other people where you feel better after coming across them, whether it be their energy or the tone of their voice or the sound of the music you're listening to or the message and the intention. You're noticing how sensitive you're becoming to that and kind of being forced through a Pavlovian experience of feeling good or bad in association to that resonance. I'm seeing crystal singing bowls. You know, that's very similar to the sonar, that the sound waves, similar to the waves I was seeing at the beginning. So maybe you're into sound healing and things like that, and using it intentionally to carry intention or to circulate the vibration throughout your entire system, right? And the voice is very great at that. Your voice will vibrate your entire system. So maybe you are working with your voice in that way, right? Because it's literally coming from inside of you. And you can nurture yourself with your own voice, whether it's through mantra, singing, right? Yeah, really powerful shifts happening here. And maybe it has felt intense, and that's why you're being called to mindfully work with this, right? Work with these frequencies, and really be discerning about what you are digesting and allowing in. Yeah, based on even just the people you're letting in or what you're listening to, that's making an impact, right? And maybe vice versa. So maybe you're working with your own voice as well, your own frequency. What am I contributing here vibrationally, right? So sending intents, sending you a lot of joy and hope, and helping to amplify that for you. And yeah, let me know in the comments if that resonates. We'll amplify each other in the comments. And thanks for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. That's valuable to me. Let me know I'm on the right track here, that you're enjoying these readings. And all my links will be in the description. So anything you will need will be there. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, empath.